Dr. Juliet Wu, Bethesda, Maryland. The ride up to the 9th floor of the Bethesda Naval Hospital was agonizing. For years, Juliet Wu had come here to watch her father die as he received cancer treatment. An old soldier, he was a man of incredible courage and dignity, but it hit Wu hard to see such a character brought to his knees as he slowly rotted away to nothing. He battled his disease for 5 years, as if it were an enemy that needed to be quashed. For Wu, it broke her. Her father had been her rock. She was determined to fight his cancer and even went as far as to promise him a cure. After all, she was the brilliant Dr. Wu, lead researcher at the CDC. However, it was not enough, as his will was broken and his heart was ready to move on. For a long time after, she had resented him, angry he had given up so suddenly. But then something far worse happened to Wu. 2 years ago, which was supposed to be the most crucial time in her life, as she built the CERC from the ground up, the worst tragedy any woman could face hit home. May, her daughter, became gravely ill with a disease that had no name among the scientific community until a few months ago. The bright young girl who showed incredible promise collapsed one day and did not wake back up for 6 months. Something in her brain had been infected, resistant to all antibiotics. Evasive surgery followed and slowed the abnormal growth, yet it kept coming back like a persistent bug. Wu had always admired the virus and how resilient they were. A virus could survive extreme cold, heat, and levels of radiation that would doom a person. Yet it was a deviously simple life form capable of wreaking so much havoc, even bringing a world to its knees. The elevator opened. Wu took a deep breath before finding the courage to step forward, feeling like the threshold was an unbroken force field that wanted to hold her back. Each time, it mentally and physically pained her to find the necessary strength to take this long walk. Inside, her daughter's room was filled with balloons, flowers, toys, and cards sent to her by family and friends over the past week since she had celebrated her 9th birthday. May was asleep as Wu entered. Right away, tears dropped from the corner of her eyes when seeing her daughter in such a sorry state. She seemed thinner and weaker each day, with her long hair almost entirely gone, and with only a few strands dangling like loose threads from a wicker doll. The bags under her eyes were nearly dark as night, as her eyes sunk deep into the sockets. Her arms were nothing but bone, as her muscles had been chewed away by the disease. Yet underneath this frail creature was a beautiful girl, whose heart beat with the determination to survive. Wu took her daughter's hand and held onto it for a long while as she lovingly stared down at her sleeping child. Subconsciously, May gripped her hand with what little strength she could manage. "Julia, I was hoping I might catch you today," Dr. Carter said as he entered the room. "John, it's good to see you," Wu replied, not turning to face her friend. "She's been asleep for a while. I think she had a good day. She was up for a little while and even managed to walk down to the nurse's station. The ladies love her. I believe they even let her answer a few phone calls," Dr. Carter said. "But still no improvements?" Wu asked. Carter sighed and he handed May's chart to Wu. "Sadly, no. Her condition is progressive and aggressively getting worse. I don't think she'll be able to maintain her motor skills much longer, as the disease is spreading deeper into the brain." "It's quite impressive, isn't it, John? This thing in my daughter's skull," Wu said. She looked over the charts, reading the latest CT scan of her brain. "I don't know if I would view it that way, with all due respect," Carter replied. "The May syndrome, we've agreed to call it. My own patient zero right here in my arms, and there isn't a damn thing I can do to make it better. I think, John, sometimes this is nature paying me back for killing so many of her creations over the years," Wu said. "You've saved a lot of lives, Julia, and you're going to save a lot more," Carter said. "But not my May." Wu rubbed her daughter's forehead as she cried, but was too embarrassed to turn and let another see her weakness. "She still has some time. There are treatments we've not tried yet. We need her to get a little stronger and we can move her on to the next stage of trials," Carter said sympathetically. "Mama," May said in a soft voice as she opened her eyes. "I'll leave you two alone. If there's anything you need, I will be close by," Carter said before he turned and left the room. "I'm right here, baby. I heard you had a fun day," Wu said.
I did. I got to be a nurse. But then I got tired and wanted to go to sleep.
May said. Did you have good dreams?
Yes. I dreamed of Daddy and you in the park we used to play in.
May said warmly. Those were good days, Wu said.
Daddy came by yesterday. We played the whole day, did you know?
I did. That is wonderful, honey.
He said you haven't talked to him for a long time. You should call him. I think he's very sad.
May said. We both are very sad. But I don't think we can talk, honey, Wu said. There was a melancholy hint of bitterness in her tone. May's father had walked out 3 years ago, not too long before May's illness took hold.
Daddy still loves you, Mama.
I know he does. And I love him too, Wu replied. She told the truth. She would always love Mark. But they had drifted apart. With her dead set on creating the CERC, trying for years to get it pushed through, their lives had taken two vastly different paths. She did not blame him, however. He was a good provider and a wonderful father. It was he just expected the same level of affection in return, which Wu could not reciprocate. May looked around her room, staring at all the things that had been given to her. Her smile faded, however, as she turned back to her mother.
Mama, will I see my next birthday?
Wu could not stop herself from breaking down as fresh tears fell from her eyes, which only served to make May cry as well. This is not fair. You should not be worrying about these things. Not now. Not when you have so much life still in you. Wu thought as she grabbed a hold of May and held on to her. Of course you will. Mommy works every day to ensure we kill that nasty bug in your head. I will not let anything bad happen to you. You believe Mommy, right?
Of course I do. I was just wondering.
May said. And next year, you will get even more things to play with, Wu said, wiping away her tears.
That's okay. I'm happy with what I have.
May yawned, as it was evident she was exhausted. You need to get some rest, Wu said.
I will. Are you coming back tomorrow?
May asked. I will try. Mommy has a lot of work to do. She has to help make you better.
Oh yeah! That would be great!
Go back to sleep, dear. Wu stood to her feet and pulled out her cell phone, which had been buzzing non-stop for the past 10 minutes. She ignored it, even though she knew it must have been imperative. But her people knew what she was supposed to be doing today, and were under instructions not to bother her, which they typically respected. What is it? Wu asked as she returned the call. Dr. Wu, there's been a serious incident in California, Half Moon Bay to be exact. We believe it might be the Pangu Virus, the woman on the other end of the call said. Are you certain? Wu asked. We are. Your briefing will be waiting for you once you are in the air. I took the liberty of readying a jet, which is fueled and waiting for your arrival at Andrews Air Force Base. Good. I'm on my way now. Wu was gone, hurrying back down the hall. Leaving was the worried mother who'd come to see her dying daughter. Replaced was the hardened woman used to a crisis. A woman ready and eager to prove to everyone what the CERC was capable of.